Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Cali Culture Podcast, Episode 7. Today's episode features guest John Martyn Stapley Lopez, who currently lives in Cali, Colombia, and helps his father run and operate the legendary and infamous Martyn's Rock Bar. John's going to share with us his experiences growing up in two different cultures, in Cali, Colombia, and in Europe. John's also going to share with us some very interesting bar stories in the heart of the Cali nightlife scene. So without further ado, episode 7, listen and enjoy.
Welcome to the Cali Culture Podcast. On this podcast, we talk about everything associated with Cali, Colombia. Glad to have you today. We have a great and special show for you today. A great guest, John Martyn Stapley. Without further ado, let's introduce our guest right now. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. And I just wanted to say it's great what you're doing here, putting Cali on the map, advocating for such a good culture that we have here. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thanks for being on the show. Now, we have a lot to talk about, so let's just get right into it. Uh, the audience might not know, but they'll know now. You're a good friend of mine, and I always like hanging out with you. But why don't you give the audience introduction, a brief introduction of yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what you currently do in Cali, Colombia.
I was born here in Cali. That was in the year 94. Yeah, that was through a relationship from my Welsh father and my Colombian mother. My father came here initially, met my mother, of course, in 94. Then at the age of 6, I moved on to Florida for a few years. We had to escape, my sister and I. Then to Europe, and after all the time in Europe and in the UK specifically, I just wanted to come back here, back to my roots, see what that's all about, and enjoy the time here and find out what my mother's side is all about in that sense of culture, etc. Yeah.
Nice. So let's delve into that a little bit. So you were born in Cali. So how was it? How long was it until you went to Europe and you experienced the culture in Europe? What age were you at that point?
Okay, so from initiating that point of living here, I do remember a fair amount of being here. I left at around the age of 6.
Hmm.
Ultimately, going to Europe, that was at the age of, I would say, 12. I remember my father saying we're going to Wales, and I still remember Wales. I only knew the word Wales as a mammal, not necessarily a part of a country. So
Yeah.
from 12 onwards until 28, 29, I lived in between the border of North Wales, so that's North Wales, Bagult, the name of the town was, and Chester, where I ultimately studied and lived for a big amount of time with my time there. Yeah.
Interesting. So how was that? So you spent a little bit of time in Cali up until about 6. So you're still very young, very young boy. Then you sort of uprooted and went to Europe, and then you came back.
That's
So
right.
can you describe to the viewers that whole cultural exchange, that process, from going to one culture to the next? How was that? And then in addition to that, how did you like living in either or cultures or countries? In other words, did you like living in one or other as a child more?
So the culture shock is ultimately the point here, where, like I mentioned, going from Colombia to specifically Cali to then Miami, etc., Port St. Lucie. For those first 12 years of my life, it was always, and it sounds cliche, but the weather. The weather was a big moving to Wales. My dad would say, I still remember the conversation with my mum. Gloria, my mother's name, is like, Gloria, it rains every day. And we were like, this guy is like, we don't really believe him, sort of thing. So that was a big change. That was ultimately an incredible change that I really never accustomed to to put it that way. It's coming up from Colombia to Florida, which is similar in many ways, even more so now with a lot of immigration going into Florida, a lot of Colombian culture moving there. But like I said, it was the cultural change of food as well.
Hmm.
It was a cultural change of the type of people. From Colombia, from my mother's side, I would be very open to meeting new people. It's a custom in that point. Colombia and Cali to make friends with X person on the road, X person
Hmm.
on the street. You start creating bonds with whoever it may be, just as long as you're both on the same page.
Right.
Whereas,
Absolutely.
whereas in the UK, that was a big change as well, where I had to learn of maybe keeping more to myself and little nuances like that.
Right.
And that was a big change. And for most of my adolescent life, my teenager time, my time as a teenager would be in the UK. Although I always visited Cali, Colombia, I always
Mhm.
had that draw to come back. My father was here. I always wanted to visit him. My time here would be spent going to the bar, going to the farm,
Hmm.
and it was just so. At the time, I mean, I probably took it for granted in that sense of it was really drawing me to my roots,
Hmm.
and I would go back, study, etc. I never really feel comfortable, etc. And yeah, that was more or less that whole cultural change. I mean, the roads when you get to the UK, this is one of the first things I remember. It was It was April. I come off the plane. I still had my two-layered coat because we had traveled to Denver, Colorado. So that was the only time, the first time I saw snow. So we had two-layered coats. I had jeans and pants on top. I had snow boots and a hat. This was April time, right? And I come off the plane, and my cousin Sam and Josh, they were in shorts and sandals. It was freezing. I was like, oh my god, this is what is going on? Because you're
Yeah.
just not used to it. And over time, you somewhat get used to it over there when it's hot. Even if it's sunny, it may be 0 degrees. If it's sunny, we're gonna get the sandals, shorts. We're gonna sit outside, have beers.
Right.
So yeah, there was a lot of change in that sense.
Yeah, and you said it right. Cultural shock is exactly what it is, but it's a weather shock as well.
Yeah,
Going from from a hot climate, warm climate, humid throughout the year, 75, 80 degrees to snow. First time you have to deal with snow. That's quite the a change. That's for sure.
yeah.
But you were able to assimilate, obviously, and you still had the roots in Cali. That's what it sounds like. I mean, obviously, you live in Cali now, and you kept going back, so the roots were still pulling you back. Sounds like it.
Exactly right, and that's only something I recognized. What would that be? Maybe three years ago. I would say I've been here overall now for five. After the pandemic, I decided to just sell what I had over there and come here. And in the
Hmm.
second year, how would I explain? How would I describe? A lot of what Cali is was already in me. I
Yeah.
already had it in my heart, in my soul, whatever people may want to call it. And it was only a matter of time before I imprinted myself on the country, on the city, more
Hmm.
specifically, where I just felt comfortable. I just felt like this is my place. This is my place. I'm not. I love Wales. I love England. I
Hmm.
love it. I have great friends there. I've
Hmm.
studied there. I work there. My mother still lives there alongside my sister and my brother. I love the place. But as far as my how would you say, not to be too dramatic, but my mental state, I'm
Yeah.
here. It makes sense here. It does make sense. There may be a lot of other factors, the food, the weather, but being able to have a good knit, close knit friendship group
Hmm.
naturally is great over here.
You bring about a really good point because I think all of us expats, whether you're European expat or American or Canadian or wherever you're from outside
Mm.
Colombia, I think you feel that same way. Like America is always going to be my home country. I love America. To me, it's still the greatest country in the world.
Mm.
However, when I went to Cali for the first time, it was just like it was something about it that just kept pulling me in.
Right.
And you're exactly right. I think you described it perfectly. That Cali from a mental standpoint, it resonates with you.
Right.
that I feel like I should be there. I like the serenity and just the laid back atmosphere. So for some people it's too laid back, it's too slow. But I like that coming from America, where you're I mean, corporate America, where things are so fast paced. It's just get as much as you can. You
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
really appreciate that slower pace, that sort of more community, uh, uh, community fit or mode that people are in Cali. You know.
No, definitely. Alongside, coming here for not for the first time, but as an adult, independently, it was that also that change of coming here of take it easy,
Hmm.
laid back. Sometimes it's at force. You try to wait in line, and things don't really move the way it should be moving because we're used to it. Once
Right.
you get it into your mind that hey, it's okay, you're going to be
Mhm.
waiting, and that's fine, and everything slows down, and it makes sense.
Right.
And that's what I believe you were trying to mention. Is it, at first it's a bit of a punch in the face. Things
Right.
aren't really clicking in how they should be. Things aren't in place. Things aren't moving forward.
Hmm.
But then it comes to a point where it's don't worry about it.
Exactly. You're
Yeah,
exactly right. So I definitely want to come back and delve into this a little bit more as far as the whole assimilation between the cultures and between the countries. But I did want to talk about your job because I believe you have the most interesting job, far beyond mine. I've always said that I thought I had an interesting job, and then I've hung out with you a couple of times. It's like, you know what, maybe I need to change my profession. But for those for those viewers that don't know what you do for a living on a daily basis, can you please share that with them?
well, thank you for believing in that I have the greatest job, and in many ways it is. In many ways, it's great to be able to play amazing music, amazing rock music, have your friends over, invite them over, meet new people who are also like-minded in the music taste, the way they drink, etc., etc.
Hmm.
And my day to day, I mean, I have my days off, regardless of that. Managing the place, you still have to keep the place tip top. So there's always a bit of TLC that goes into place on the days off. Regardless, you move into Wednesday, we're open Wednesday until Saturday. And those days are just, making people feel at home. We're at the bar, we're a place where it's not a cold front. It's not necessarily a business in that sense, although of course it is. It's our income, but it's a place where we want to make people feel like not a number, more of a person. We get to meet people. I mean, initially that's more or less how we met, you and I,
Hmm.
and
Yep.
alongside a lot of other people where we genuinely want to get to know you and have a
Right.
drink with you. What's going on? What brings you here? What brings
Right.
you to this place? What brings you to Cali? I mean, that's a hell of a change. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily, especially in Europe, when I would talk to my friends, like, you should come over to Cali. It's like, you know what? I'm safer over here. I'm good. I'm good, John. I'm good. It's like, all right, brother. That's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. So it's always an interesting story. So that's my day to day, making people feel at home, talking to people, meeting new people, and just having a good time.
Absolutely. And so let's dive into this a little bit more. Your dad, which I know very well, is also a good friend of mine that I can't wait to see again. Is the owner and the founder and the owner of Martin's Rock Bar in Cali. Can you describe, as long or as short as you want to, can you describe Martin's Bar? And then I'm going to give you my definition description of it.
Okay, so I can describe it from the point of the historical value, which is the first rock bar in Cali, and now the true historic rock bar in Colombia, the
Mhm.
first. So that's beginning from 1983, and describing it from a sentimental point of view, it's home.
Mhm.
It makes sense. Things make sense there. The music we play is not maybe not so much as generic, etc. Just to play because to play, we generally want to have a great experience from the music point of view,
Mhm.
and I would say that that's the clear way to describe what Martin's Bar for me and for the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm going to add to that. So to me, Martin's Bar the best way I could describe it to the viewers is, if those of you that are watching this, if you're old enough to remember the '80s sitcom Cheers, if you remember that sitcom, then you remember the Cheers bar. Everybody knows your name. That's Martin's bar in a nutshell. That um, you're going to meet interesting people. The owner and his son John, who's our guest today, are extremely friendly. They're going to welcome you in. You're going to become the family. You're going to become family at that bar, and that's going to be your bar. That's going to be your neighborhood bar. Uh, Great music. If you like classic rock music like I do, you're gonna love it. You know, the old school Led Zeppelin, Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix. If you like the old school stuff, you're gonna love that rock bar. Also, it's just a small rock bar that it feels like a pub or a rock bar. You
Hmm.
got the legends on the wall, the rock legends on the wall. It feels like a rock bar. So that's what it means to me. The best way I can describe it again is it's the Cheers bar. Everybody knows your name. You get along with people, and to me it's a legendary bar. I have a friend of mine that he met his wife at your dad's bar, you guys' bar. So it's definitely a
Yeah,
staple
yeah,
in in Cali, and I think it's just one of those things where, ladies and gentlemen, if you go to Martin's, if you go to Cali, you got to go to Martin's bar. Period. You have to. That's just like going into the cat park or going to hike at Tres Cruces. It has to be one of the things on your list that you have to go to this bar and check out Martin and John. You have to. So that's my take on it. But
got
let's dive into that a little bit more as far as 43 years. Like your dad established that bar in 1983.
Hmm.
Did he ever tell you what was his motivation for starting the first rock bar in Cali, Colombia? Um, and then obviously I have some more questions to follow up. But what was the motivation? That your dad had for starting a rock bar out of all the places in the world and all the cities in the world, because he could have done it in Bogota or Medellin, but he decided to establish a bar in Cali.
Well, at the time, he was teaching, I believe, geography, geology, and mathematics in the Colombo Británico in the south.
Hmm.
He was positioned here in the north, for his living accommodation, etc. And after work, he had a place in Granada. Before a lot of businesses were there. That's before where it was still residential,
Hmm.
and he would play his vinyls that he would bring from the UK. At the time, we can imagine the music he was playing. He would bring it and he would have beers, and people would listen to the music, hear the music, come and join him. Well, he started charging them. He said, "Pay me for the beers," yeah, and that's more or less how it transpired into what it is today, where it's not necessarily something that he decided it's best to do it in Cali as opposed to Bogota, Medellin. It was a case of I've already got my job, I've got my stability coming in from the school, the education, but
Hmm.
I'm doing this on the side and I'm getting my money that way, and that's how it started,
Wow.
and that's how it went forward. And then incredibly it carried forward and forward. People obviously in Cali loved the music. It was new music. It was music that really tailored to their hearts, something that really was outstanding for them. So they kept coming back and back and back. And at the time, he was getting more money from that little side hustle of his than
Hmm.
what he was getting paid at the school.
Hmm.
So he went to the how would you say, the headmaster or the principal of the school, and he said, "Listen, either you pay me this amount, which will essentially be covering what I'm getting now, or I'm going to have to leave because I'm just getting too much money." He said, "No, we can't do that." So he left, and then he completely focused in doing that. But there was never a thought in the sense of I would rather financially and business wise choose to be in Cali as opposed to Bogota, etc. It just
Mm.
happened. It just happened.
Sometimes when you're in the right place at the right time and you have the ambition, like your dad does, things happen. And I've always said in life, it's always about being in the right place at the right time and being open minded. Because who would have
Absolutely.
known 43 years later that's still a bar, is very established bar within Cali, Colombia. Amazing.
It really is. It really, really is. Because, you know, considering the age of Cali at that time, the problems,
Hmm.
carried, he found his way forward. He found his home, which is something
Hmm.
he probably was looking for because he came to Cali in the first place. Not necessarily that he had nothing to do in the UK, but he stayed here because of that. And considering everything that's happened, he's still moving forward with the bar. It's his place. He really does love that place.
Let's talk about that time period. We're talking about the early 80s when Cali, Medellin, those two cities were hotspots in
Hmm.
Colombia. A lot of, obviously, cartel and drug violence, um, a lot of political unrest at the
Hmm.
time. How did your dad navigate through all of that? Did he ever share? Did he share with you? Um, Obviously, he being a being a gringo at that time probably didn't make things better either. As far as I mean, obviously, tourism has increased a lot more now than it was back in the day. How difficult was it to navigate through all of that drama and hysteria at the time?
Wow. I mean, I'd be speaking on behalf of my father, of course, but from my point of view, just seeing his determination, I mean, the guy's got balls. I'm sorry. The guy, I, you know, I know some stories. I know quite a lot of stories that he's told me.
Hmm.
Whether or not to share them on here is one thing. Uh, but to come across such a different lifestyle to what he was accustomed to. My father came from, you know, his father not being there, so his grandfather had to look after him. His grandfather was a soldier from the World War I, World War II, where a lot of
Hmm.
his brothers died. He was making his money fishing. He was making his money fixing cars.
Hmm.
There was nothing in the north, nothing, absolutely nothing in the north.
Hmm.
But at the same time, although there's nothing, there's no people shooting, there's no people hanging from trees, there's no
Hmm.
people who these are completely different sights that one would see
Yeah.
from his point of view, I believe. And coming here, and there were times where there were civil unrests on the street. A lot of the businesses were closed because it was just not safe. But
Hmm.
he would stay open. He would stay open. How many times has he come across difficult situations? He's also a very clever man. He's made friends with the right people, etc. I mean, not to dig too much into that, but
Hmm.
he's also someone who's very clever in that sense, and he's been able to carry forward because of his outstanding strength and his love for the place,
Hmm.
which is why it's still going on now.
Hmm.
You can see a lot of businesses closing. You see a lot of businesses that didn't really make it through that period
Right.
because of maybe something bad that they had made a decision with, etc. But he moved forward. So that's what I can say on that topic of what it was like. I mean, it was crazy. It was completely crazy from what he's told me and what he went through. I mean, completely crazy.
Yeah, and John, he shared some of these stories over a beer or a shot of tequila with me, and
That's right.
yeah, he definitely does have major cojones for sure. I I will not take anything away from him there because yeah, it's definitely some of the things he had to endure and encounter was I don't think I want to be in those situations. So for
Mm-hmm.
him to remain steady, to remain steadfast and and maintain his business throughout those times says a lot about who he is as a person, as a man, and again, it's not it's not it's not surprising to me that the bar has lasted as long as it has, with
Mm.
having known you guys now, with having known your father and understand, like you said, how clever he is and just how tough he is. So
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, uh, I want to talk about the genre of rock music because honestly, when you think about Cali, Colombia, you don't think about the genre of rock and roll.
Right.
And you mentioned earlier that a lot of people, when your dad was first starting out, a lot of people seem to resonate with rock and roll.
Hmm.
Do you believe because it was more of a different thing? It was something completely different than salsa and other forms of Latin American music, or was it just the way to for everybody to have a social hour, a happy hour, and to get together
Hmm.
and talk and drink? What do you think resonated with the Colombians regarding rock and roll?
From the people that come to the bar that were clients of the bar, I mean, since they get on nowadays onto Centenario and now obviously where we are now in the Sexta.
Mhm.
And it's generational. It's, their fathers were the ones who originally came in and they would just remember the times that they had of listening to that music, whatever band it may be. They said, "Oh well, I heard music on the radio, and I just fell in love with that music." And these are people who can recite you word for word the whole song. They'll say, "Oh, can you play X song? Can you play this? Can you play this?" I was like, "How do you know that?" Like, that's like from the '70s, from the '80s. These are people who fell in love with it, and
Mhm.
now generationally, like I was saying, their sons are listening to it, and now their sons are listening to it. We get young kids coming to the bar saying, "Can you play this?" Is a song from the '70s.
Mhm.
In the sense of how much of what the value was of them listening to that over salsa. I mean, I asked my dad that. I asked him. I said, "Why rock?" And he said, "Well, listening to salsa every day. I don't think so." So he said that, and you can kind of understand where he's coming from, which is, not to knock salsa. Salsa is great. I love salsa music.
Yeah.
But the rock music is something completely different in the sense of it's from another country, talks
Mhm.
about different things possibly, and there's a big following behind it. You don't just get a few songs, you get a lot of artists from different countries, British music, The Clash, etc.
Mhm.
And that's what I would say to that. It's people just drew to it. They just liked it. It really just clicked with them.
Right. Interesting. Now, let's actually first I wanted to shout out everyone that is on the YouTube live, that's listening. I did see the heart from Lady 6590. Thanks for listening and for showing the show love. We appreciate it. Also, I want to remind everyone that you can make a small donation to the show, keep everything going, keep everything running. Obviously, this content does take time and money. So, if you would like to donate, then the Cash App information is available on the screen there. So, feel free, and if you do, we really appreciate it. Now, John, I want to talk about Cali in general. Why, in your opinion, is Cali such an interesting city? A lot of people come to Cali, like myself, and then they just fall in love with it and they just end up staying, or they buy property there, they get their visa, or all that and above. Why do you believe Cali has a way of pulling people in? Why is it so interesting?
I still don't have the answer to that question. I I was still thinking about it as to what it is. I mean, personally, I know why for myself.
Mhm.
But overall, why does it attract someone? I think it's a numerous things. You can say the type of people. It's attractive to be able to just speak to someone on the road, and there's no sense of ego behind it. It's a genuine, "Hey, how you doing?" Well,
Mhm.
hey, John, how you doing? Ta, ta, ta. You get to know people. That's something it makes you feel alive.
Mhm.
There's a for me, for example, it's the nature side. To be able to see different colors of birds and the trees, and be able to see different colors of butterflies and insects, and the weather. You get these incredible thunderstorms, or you get blazing heat, or you get a cold breeze. It makes you feel alive. It makes you feel like you're not
Yeah.
following a herd, or you're part of a herd following the master. You
Right.
feel individual. You feel, like I'll say it again, you'll feel alive. You
Mhm.
feel part of something. And I believe that's what it is. A lot of people say like, "Oh, I just came here and that's it." Like my dad, he would say, "Hey, Dad, what brought you here?" He said, "I turned right at Miami and I came here." And that's how we got here. And he stayed. Everyone ends up staying. People become obsessed with the place because it
Mhm.
has a lot to offer. It's incredible.
Mhm.
It's incredible place, an absolute incredible place. And this is why I love what you do for real tourism to get people to understand, hey, Cali is really an amazing place. The
Right.
food, the culture, the tourism, the sights, so
Mhm.
many things, so many things.
I could not. I 100% agree with you. I 1,000% agree with you. As a matter of fact, John, that you're right. Sometimes in my home country, I feel like I am kind of part of that herd,
Hmm.
or a lot of people say the part of the matrix,
Yeah.
um, and I do feel like I am off the grid, even though Cali is a third largest city in Colombia. I feel like I'm off the grid when I go to Cali, when I'm in Cali. In fact, I'm in the U.S. right now, and you know, I literally do not have a life in
Hmm.
the U.S. But then when I come, as soon as I step foot in Cali, then it's like I want to go out all the time. I want to socialize with people. I want to hang out. So I
Yeah.
do feel like I'm off that, out of the matrix, off the grid in Cali.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think that's what attracts people and keeps people. It's kind of like they say a black hole effect, that gravitational pull that wants
Hmm.
you want to go back and feel that again. You know.
Yeah. Like you said, it's, you come here and over there, you don't necessarily have a life, what a
Mhm.
life is, but you come here and you just want, you're like, hey, what are you guys up to? Da, 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 let's
Mhm.
go. Boom, done. And and you'll have a great time.
Right.
And no, and it'll just be calm. It'll be cool. You could go crazy if you want. You could keep it
Mhm.
chill. It's yeah. It makes you want to get out and do things, and it, it really does have that black hole effect, like you said. Yes.
Exactly. Let's talk about the cost of living difference in the Wales
Mm.
versus in Cali, because
Okay.
it the cost of living in America keeps going up.
Yeah.
But relatively speaking, I know it's been a while since you've been in the Wales and in the country of Wales, but what's the cost of living difference? In other words, if I wanted to go and get a say 2 bedroom apartment in Wales right now, what's the range I'm looking at?
Per month.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, last time I was there, I believe things have just gone up now, especially with more tourism.
Mhm.
Where I was living is Chester, beautiful city in the north, small city. I was paying for 2 bedrooms, one bathroom. It was how much was that? That was around 800, 900 pounds a month.
Mm.
But that price didn't really alter much before the pandemic throughout and until maybe a few months after. Now I can see that being 13, 1400 a month.
And
And
we're
that's
still we're talking pounds. That's not even dollars. That's pounds.
pounds. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's what that cost of living was. Living being defined as just existing, I believe, from what I was doing.
Hmm.
So that was the price. That's without the bills as well. That was 800 without the bills. So that would be amount to a certain amount, whatever. Over here, you could get something really, really incredibly amazing for that. I
Hmm.
mean, it would just be too much, to be honest. It would for what you would get, say for example, £800. It would just be too much. It would just be contradictory to trying to spend that amount of money, especially if you want to be out and go out. It wouldn't work out. It would just wouldn't make sense for me. But
Right.
yeah, those are more or less the differences between.
I totally agree. For that amount of money per month, you could get something probably what in Cedar Ardine or the Ponce
Right.
area, but it would be way too much. I'm talking
Yeah.
about when I say when we say too much, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about space wise,
Right.
and we're talking about you could get a casa, a house, for that amount of money with a nice backyard, and it would just be way too much for one or two people, even for a family.
Right.
Um, so, relatively speaking, what John is trying to say is the cost of living is not even comparable because it is so much cheaper to live in Cali than it is in the United States or Europe or even Canada.
Mm, yeah.
It's not even close.
But then there's cost of living, which is one thing. You can
Right.
always, alter costs and how much you want to pay towards. You always have an amount that you have in mind. Okay, that's the most I can pay. But then
Hmm.
there's quality of life,
Exactly.
which is something that doesn't necessarily have a cost. It's
That's
something
right.
that what you are drawn to, what you believe is quality for yourself.
Hmm.
And that here is priceless. That here
Right.
is something that, you know what, I'll take a hit on not having a big place, having a cool, chill apartment. It's good for
Hmm.
me. It's good if I've got two dogs for my two dogs. It's good for
Hmm.
my girl, etc. But I walk out and I see the sun shining. I see the birds. I see my friends. I see amazing chefs and restaurants and great bars. And that's what is priceless. That's what you can't put into numbers.
I 100% agree. That is one of the things. That's why I'm kind of envious of you right now, Johnny, because I'm in America right now and you're over there.
Yeah.
And
You'll be here soon, brother.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Even even going for breakfast is
Right.
completely different.
Right.
Just going and say, I'm gonna get up and have a nice breakfast, get a cup of coffee. Completely different.
Right.
Um, it's hard. Sometimes I always say, and I agree with you. It's hard for me when people ask me that question. What makes Cali so unique and significant, and interesting? Why do you want to stay? It is hard to sum it up in just one setting, in one response. It really is.
Yes. Like you said, such a small thing as going for breakfast.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, let's go El Molino, let's go Cuties, let's
Hmm.
go X place. You go, you're chill, you may see people there, because that's the type of culture it is. You may see someone you know. And then you get there, you can talk to the people behind the counter. You get your fresh breads, your coffee, and you sit there and you just watch the world go around and around you. And
Yeah.
it's incredible. It's such a small detail, but you're very true. You're very right. Yes.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention that I want to emphasize that the bread part it is fresh bread. Like you
Hmm.
go to the breakfast spots here in America. Now, again, I'm not trying to down America. I love my country, but I'm just saying, comparatively speaking, when you go to a breakfast spot, a cafe in Cali, you get fresh bread, like good fresh bread. I mean, it's not hard bread; it's
Mm.
so soft bread. It just makes me miss the breakfasts there.
They bring it out still hot from the trays.
Yeah,
They come out the oven,
exactly.
and we'll bring them out. Here you go, mate. Here's some pan de bono, some pan de yucas, and mojar. Ah, delicious, absolutely
Mhm.
delicious.
Yep, exactly right. Now let's talk about the outdoors, not just in Cali, but in the Valle del Cauca department, as they say, department in general. I
Mm-hmm.
do know that you and your dad have a farm outside of the city, and you go there frequently just to get away from the city, the big city. Tell us a little bit about that experience. When you go to the farm and you're able to be outdoors and just kind of get away from it all. Tell us about that experience and how unique that is.
I'm very lucky to have that option of going to the family farm. It's completely secluded, not only from the city but from other farms around. It's You look at the forest. You put, we grow bananas there. We grow bananas, plantains, oranges, limes, lulo, coffee. It's a coffee farm now. It makes its own money from that.
Nice.
And you put a little bit of banana on the bird top, on the bird
Mhm.
table. The birds that come around are incredible. They're
Mhm.
absolutely incredible colors. Me and my father will sit there. I'll have my dog and he'll have his dog on a lap. We'll have coffee from the farm, drinking it, just watching the birds. We can spend hours there, and we'll see. John, have you seen that color of bird? No, I haven't seen that one before, Dad. It's just
Wow.
completely incredible, and it's very, how would you call it? It's very peaceful. It's a
Hmm.
very calm area. It's not necessarily a place you'd want to spend too much time because there is nothing around. You
Hmm.
would have to either go back into the city or go to a nearby store to get enough for you to live there.
Hmm.
But it really is an incredible, incredible place. And I'm sure if you guys follow, or if, Jeremy, if you follow my father on his Instagram page, there'll be pictures on there of just how beautiful it is.
Yes, I have seen it, and your dad and actually yourself too have invited me, but I haven't been in Cali long enough to be able to take you up on that invite. So
Yeah,
hopefully real soon.
we'll get there. We'll get in the truck, get the dogs, and we'll go up. It's only
Definitely.
about, if there's no traffic, it maybe takes about what, 30 minutes,
Oh,
40 minutes.
okay.
It's not long. It's not long.
Yeah, that's not long at all.
Yeah.
And for those viewers that don't know, Colombia in general, but Cali specifically, has some of the most interesting, significant bird species in the world. In fact, I believe Colombia is the country with the most species of birds, of different
Mm.
species of birds. And so, if you're into bird watching, you could definitely, go out like Johnny is saying, 30 minutes outside the city and see as many birds as you want to that you've never seen in your life, uh,
Beautiful.
which is
Absolutely
interesting.
beautiful.
Hmm.
Yes. They had a bird fair here as well, not too long ago.
Yes, that was a couple weeks ago, right? 2 or 3
Couple,
weeks ago, something like
something
that.
like that. That's right.
Yeah,
Yes. And I didn't get the chance to go, but just to coincide with what you said, it's Cali is known, or Colombia is known for that the bird watching, the bird species that there are here, because they're absolutely incredible.
right. Absolutely. And not just the birds too. There's some little insects that I've never seen before. There's a dragonfly. I can't remember the name of what it is, but there's a dragonfly looking thing over there,
Yeah.
part way, that I don't know what species of insect it is, but I've
Right.
never seen this before, John. And it's about the size of a dragonfly,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have the long wings. And
Okay.
so you'll for those listening, if that's your thing, if you like to see the biodiversity and different
Yeah.
insects and different birds, uh, this is another reason to travel to Cali, because you're going to see as much as you want to, and you can do the research and figure out what it is. So if somebody out there knows what this bug is, let me know.
Hey, I've seen some things that I've only seen once,
Right,
and I'll never see it again. I was like, what is that? What was
you're
that
right.
that I saw? I saw one bug. It had like 7 different colors. Never seen it
Hmm.
again. Didn't know what it was doing, where it was going, where it came from. I'll never see it again. And
Yeah,
that's what you said, that biodiversity. It is incredible. It's beautiful.
it totally is. Now, I want to ask you about the obvious thing that most people ask about Cali Colombia, and that is Cali safe?
Hmm.
I have an answer because I've been in Cali off and on for nearly 5 years. Um, but for those that really want to come to Cali, that they're concerned about the safety,
Hmm.
what would you say to them?
You have to play the game that Cali is the ruler of,
Mm,
or the Cali creates the rules. If you play by those rules, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
mm,
I know I've watched some of your podcasts before, and when you talk about people coming over, thinking that they're, king of the jungle, etc. I'm here.
mm,
I'm this over here, and I'm gonna just transcend that into who I am here.
right,
You don't play. You're not playing by the rules. There's
right.
little just details. Don't walk around with jewelry. Don't, make sure that you're aware of your surroundings. Make sure you're not, if you're walking out, it's fine walking around everywhere. I walk around everywhere.
Hmm.
It's beautiful to walk around everywhere, but just play the rules of the game.
Right,
Don't, like you would in any other country.
right, right.
London right now, you could say London, oh, London's safe. London's not really. No,
Mm,
there's still a lot of, things happening over there that could
mm,
easily be mistaken for things that only happen here, but it's
mm,
really not. It's just playing the rules, be smart,
mm.
and just be aware of what you're doing, and that's it.
You're exactly right, and be respectful. People Caleños are very high into respect me, and you
Hmm.
usually get the reciprocal. You usually get respect in return. But if you have a chip on your shoulder, an attitude, or you think you're a tough guy
Hmm.
type of attitude, it's not going to work very well in Cali, because you can. you can walk over 4 or 5 blocks and be in a different barrio, and that barrio might not be the best for you to be in with a
Yeah.
tough guy attitude. Am I right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
No,
So.
that's completely right. Completely right.
Mhm.
And like you said, respect, which you come over with that vibe because it's a city that deserves respect. It's a city that its people are in love with the city.
Mhm.
Look after it, be nice, be respectful, like you said, and yeah, just be aware of what you're doing. And
Right.
yeah,
Absolutely. Now, what are you thinking in terms of tourism? Because you obviously been in Cali a lot longer than I have. And
right.
I had actually my guest last week. No, actually, my guest 2 weeks ago. He's been in Cali quite a while too, about 8 or 9 years, and his take on it was pretty good. I thought that Cali for the average you know tourists from America or even Europe might not be catered for that tourist because a lot of tourists like the say New York Opera, they like the big nightclubs in Miami, and if you like that type of tourism, you're going to be more apt to go to Medellin or Cartagena as opposed to Cali. But Cali seems to offer more. I would call it more mature tourism, like we were talking about with the bird watching and
Hmm.
watching
Yeah.
different species of insects and
Hmm.
going out to a coffee farm. Cali seems to draw that sort of more cultural, historical, biodiversity tourism.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, do you think that that will increase, or do you think Cali ever changes to the point where, which, by the way, this is the concern for a lot of locals. Do you think Cali could ever change to the point where Medellin changed and became like a sort of a city that had a pass to this metropolis of
Hmm.
tourism from America and Europe?
I believe it's definitely headed that way. You can
Mm-hmm.
see gentrification building itself into a lot of the main areas, which
Mm-hmm.
obviously comes with bigger buildings, more tourism, etc., more money being indulged into the country, into the city.
Mm-hmm.
What I would be concerned about is the actual space of where these buildings would go. You would have to then destroy some area, forest
Mm-hmm.
area, or destroy now places that are historically already secure, etc. But it's definitely headed that way. You can see a lot of new buildings. I'm surprised. I'll drive down Granada and there's a new building being built. And I was like, dude, who's doing this? Who is, right now, where Chippy Chapa is.
Mm-hmm.
There's 450 new apartments,
I
a
saw
building
that.
for 450 new apartments. They haven't even thought of the logistics behind the driving experience for the people who are, work within the area. How are they? Where are 450 extra cars if each person had a car?
Right.
So there's definitely a geographical constraint on that metropolis moving forward. I mean, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, you would have to destroy parts of the nature side of the trees. You have to cut down a lot of things, and I don't think, I hope that Cali won't go down that way. I do really like the biodiversity
Mm-hmm.
intertwined with the city life.
Agreed. I yes, I totally agree with you, John. That I hope they don't do that. And I have seen those apartment buildings. Matter of fact, I think they're almost about done at Chippy Chapa.
I
Um,
think they're still a few months away, but they're
okay,
they're definitely almost done in this of the overall picture. Yes. Yeah.
right, yeah, yeah. It is unfortunate because I tell you, even in my less than 5 years of going back and forth to Cali, I have seen the traffic has gotten a little bit
Mhm.
worse over the last several years. I say over the last 2 years, I've seen the traffic is more intense in Cali, especially coming into the city.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah. I mean, you can blame politics for that. Not to get into that topic, but there's a lot of things that happen that we don't necessarily get told, where there's
mm,
too many lights, or the organization behind the road
mm,
traffic isn't being really skewed into the right direction, etc.
mm,
But no, you're completely right. You're completely right. It has completely changed and it's become more congested.
yeah, yeah, and just to your point, I do hope that the land is not affected. because
Mm,
I do like the fact that when I'm leaving my apartment in El Peon and I'm say 15 minutes outside of the city, that I'm seeing nothing but trees and vegetation, and and that's a nice scenery. Even from the airport, being able to see the sugar cane,
mm, mm.
it's great. It's excellent, you know. And
That's
so
right.
you start affecting that, then you affect you take away from a little bit of authenticity of the culture, you know. So that's a piece of it. The land, the vegetation, the crops, that's a part of the culture. Because there's
Yeah,
nothing like going downtown and be able to get me a nice sugarcane juice, you know.
yeah,
If you can't do that, then that's you know that's an impact. So I definitely agree with you there.
definitely.
Is
Yeah.
is there anything that you would change or want or more or less want to see improve in Cali?
I mean, just every day to day things. I'm very happy here.
Mhm.
As far as see, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about it because to change something means I'm, thinking about it in a way that is detrimental to me existing here, and it really is nothing. There's really nothing.
Mhm.
I mean, if I've got the biodiversity and things like that, I'm happy. I'm very easygoing. We could
Right.
say things like fix the holes on the road,
Yeah.
maybe be a bit more conscious about how traffic moves.
Right.
Just but those are things that just that's what it is. That's what we've
Mhm.
got, and that's where we are.
Right.
As I'll leave the politics and I'll leave all the things for other people. I'm happy. I'm just a happy guy in a place that's incredible.
Yeah. I again I agree with that, and you were kind of reading my mind. If there was, I guess, and I agree. There's nothing really that I would change about Cali, but if there was something, if I could wave a magic wand,
Yeah.
that's probably the only thing I would change is the roads,
Hmm.
because uh, you got to be careful where you walk and where you drive. Yeah.
Luckily, we've got the Chevrolet truck, so we just the potholes, they exist, but we go over them. But
Yeah.
it is something that occurs a lot. It's more cars have to be serviced, therefore the price of cars maybe has to go up, and the petrol and things. There's a lot of things that are intertwined with that topic. But yes, no, I agree. Yes.
Yep. What are your plans for Cali? Obviously, you know your dad's there. You manage the bar. You have a great life there. What are your plans in the next 2, 3, 4 years? Where do you see John in regarding Cali and your just your plans in general?
I think one of the beautiful things of being here is you sort of tend to be more laid back. And
Hmm.
in my time in the UK, I was very focused in that sense of, okay, I'm going to go and do engineering. I'm going to study engineering. Then I'm going to study business management. Then I'm going to do this job. And in X amount of years, I'm going to have X amount of money to live the life that I've been told I need to be part of,
Hmm.
or at least what I thought was valuable in return for me. Here, I've I've got my father, who I love being with. I've got my dogs. I have a great place where I stay. I'm very lucky. I have roof over my head, food on my plate.
Hmm.
As far as my plans, I'd like to get Martin's Bar back into the rhythm of things.
Hmm.
I know that's not necessarily up to me at the moment because my father's very happy the way it is.
Hmm.
But that along the lines of moving forward in that way, maybe investing in certain properties, especially in areas where being upbuilt, things like that. But to say that I have something set, no, I don't. I'm very just content for the last 4 or 5 years that I've been here for the first time in my life. With those 18 years in Europe, just I'm happy here.
That is excellent, and I think we're all striving for that. By the way, is being able to say exactly that word, that one simple word, and that is happy. You know,
Right.
you're to the point you're happy, even content, because before you get to happy, you got to get content first. So, what I've learned is, when I graduated from college, and I was like, okay, well now I'm starting to make money, and now I got this, and I got a house, and you start realizing all that stuff doesn't mean anything if you're literally not content, if you're not happy,
Hmm.
if you can't walk outside and be like, okay, this is what I work for, you know.
Right.
Um, those are, as you indicated, that's a quality of life part is priceless. You can make, several $100,000 or even $1 million, whatever the cost, the amount of revenue or money is. But if you can't say you're content or you're happy, I don't think you quite arrived. So, my friend, you've arrived a little bit more than I have.
That's right. That's right. And that being content is priceless. It really, really is. And when you step away from all the moving pieces in your life and you breathe in a relaxing manner. You take your time with things. At first, it's forced. I remember being here. I go to the bank or I go to the Colado. I mean, Colado is one story on its own, but things aren't going to move the way you want it to.
Right.
So you get used to just having to relax and take it easy.
Mhm.
And that was great. Yeah, overall, I love Cali. It's a great place, and it really has been a great experience for the last 4 years. And I look forward to being here longer.
Excellent. Well, we've reached our time. I'm definitely gonna have to have you on the show again, and you'll have to drag your dad on the show as well. We have to get him on the show as well.
Yes, sir.
But I did want you to remind everyone where the bar is, the hours. Just tell them the information they need, because again, I'm going to say that if you travel to Cali, you need to go to Martin's Bar and check it out. It's a staple. It's a legendary bar. It's going to be a bar that you know, when everything else is long gone, it's going to be remembered. It's just
Mhm.
that type of bar. So remind
Thank you.
everyone where they can go and have that experience.
Yes, of course. So initially, I would say the easiest way to find the information would be Martin's Bar on Instagram. That's the name of it. It's Martin's with a Y, and there would be the address. But right now, we're placed in Avenida Sexta A in front of the gymnasium 24/7. It's in between two lots. You'll see the gray truck outside. You see the gray truck. That's where the place will be. A gray Chevrolet. That's where it is. And Jeremy, thank you for everything, and we look forward to seeing you there, mate. And anyone who would like to come along, we'll be happy to be there with you.
Absolutely, and remind them of the hours too. The days and hours.
Yes, sir. That's from Wednesday till Saturday, and the hours are from 8 at night until 2 in the morning, up until Friday, which then goes into 3 a.m.
Whew. If you last to 3 a.m.
My dad will. He'll be there. Yeah, it's
Well,
crazy. Yeah,
it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show,
thank you.
Johnny, and I can't wait to see you back in Cali, and we can sit back
Likewise.
and relax and just talk even more, and just
Yeah.
relax and take it all in, man. So I will see you soon, and thanks for everyone that participated and joined the show, to support the Cali Culture Podcast. Really appreciate it. Obviously, again, you can always donate to this wonderful content and this wonderful platform. The donation information is on the screen there, whether it be Venmo or Cash App or Zelle or whatever. That information is there and is available to you. And again, I always want to say, let's continue to keep Cali authentic. Let's respect the culture. Let's embrace the culture. And always remember that when you go to Cali, if you have respect for the people, you get respect in return. Next
Yes,
week, we
sir.
have an interesting episode as well. Stay tuned for much, much more information. But always remember, Cali is Cali. Hasta luego.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching the Cali Culture Podcast with Jeremy Preston. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next week for our next episode.